Hey, what's up? It's Jules. Welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to go over the tort of negligence, specifically the duty of care element. There's also a link to a blog post in the description for this video if you prefer to read things. First of all, what is the duty of care within negligence? So since negligence is not about acting maliciously or with evil intention, it's just about doing something accidentally, there is a threshold that you need to meet in order to owe a duty of care to someone else. Because otherwise you could just be acting accidentally all over the show and then have to pay for everyone else's damage. Like, that doesn't make sense, so there needs to be a reason as to why your accidental mistake caused damage to someone else and that you should pay for it. So that means that, yeah, you owe a duty of care to that person. To establish whether someone owes a duty of care to someone else, first you need to look at the ANS test. And the ANS test is made up of ANS 1, which is whether the person was proximate to the other person and whether it was foreseeable that if you did an act or omission negligently, that you would cause the other person harm. The second part of the ANS test is policy considerations, and that's basically whether it's unfair from a policy point of view to hold someone accountable for someone else's damage. So this comes into play in public authorities. Sometimes it's held from a policy point of view that a firefighter who's running to save someone from a burning building shouldn't be held liable for acting negligently. In New Zealand, we also have this overall consideration of whether it's fair, just and reasonable to hold someone accountable to owe a duty of care to someone else. Some case examples where there were and were not duties of care is one case called Bogle Young, and in this case someone was driving a motorbike very fast, they hit into someone and caused an accident, and the woman across the street, Mrs. Bogle, didn't even see it. She just heard the accident and she got such a fright. She got a bit of shock and she was pregnant at the time and this caused her to have a miscarriage. But actually she wasn't in the accident, she wasn't hit by Mr. Hill driving the motorbike, so she just was across the street and heard it. So it's held that the Mr. Hills who died in the crash, but his estate did not owe Mrs. Bogle a duty of care in negligence because it was not foreseeable that when you're riding down the street on a motorbike, that if you crash you might cause damage to someone emotionally on the other side of the street. It is foreseeable that if you are riding your motorbike negligently, you might drive into someone's car and cause damage to their car, or you might kill someone on the road or walking on the street, but it's not quite foreseeable that you would, yeah, like I said. The second case is McCarthy and Wellington City, New Zealand. In this case there was an old quarry and little boys would come down and play on the quarry, and some of the quarry workers saw this, but they didn't do anything about it. They didn't tell them to go away or anything like that. They kind of just let them stay around. So the quarry left explosives not very well contained. They were in containers and they were steel, but they weren't locked up or very intensely, so the boys could open up these explosives. And the boys did this and they took them home and they gave them to a friend who gave it to a friend. And one of these little boys who was given this explosive slept with it under his pillow without knowing, and in the morning he blew off his hand with it. So the quarry did owe a duty of care to this little boy who got it from a friend of a friend, because the courts in New Zealand decided that yes, the quarry owes a duty of care to anyone reasonably foreseeable to be harmed by their negligence. And in this case, a boy who knew a boy who used to play on the area was foreseeable. It was foreseeable that this person would be harmed by the quarry not being careful. So yes, there was a duty of care in this case. If you liked this video, you'll probably also like my video about understanding the tort of negligence from a conceptual point of view. So I have that linked here and also in the description below.